Hey, good morning. We are live on Coffee with Humans. It is a Monday morning. I'm excited about Monday. I have some coffee in front of me, which is, I think, wonderful. I'm drinking decaf this morning. I already had my regular uh, coffee here. Today's chat on Monday morning is live. If you want to join me on the chat, go ahead and drop your comments into the YouTube chat. Also, if you want to get on the video call, we'll be live here for a little while uh, and experimenting on Monday morning. Man, Monday morning motivation. I find it interesting that when I start these live streams here, uh, and normally we're live streaming to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and and boy, people just come out of the woodwork on Monday on the morning times around 7:15 Central Time, where we're located just outside Chicago. Go ahead and get your coffee. If you got something you want to chat about, drop it into the chat. But today, Monday morning motivation. I'm not sure what motivates you, but I've got some thoughts. I actually made a video about motivation, which will be showing in just a little bit. I'm not sure how you're feeling today. If you got something on your mind, go ahead and give something in the chat there. But more motivation is kind of an interesting topic to talk about, because I think a lot of people look outside themselves for motivation, and they're like, "Hey, I want you to motivate me. I want you to talk to me. I want you to get me pumped up." When motivation is all about what's happening inside, it's all about the thing that's going on internally to you, and it's hard to sometimes develop that what I think the term is intrinsic motivation. What's happening internally, so that we can kind of unlock ourselves. But first, many times it happens externally, and a lot of times I think the issue is not that we are unmotivated. It's just that we care about what we're doing more than we care about the thing that we talk about we're going to do. And that I feel is something to something to think about. But I've got a video I want to show to you. Going to go grab that as we're looking in looking forward here to Monday morning, accomplishing all sorts of things. I made a list of things I want to get done today, things for clients and whatnot. Where's my motivation video? I'm looking for it. If you want to drop on the live stream today, you're welcome. You're certainly welcome to DM me on Twitter at jtoddthinker. I'll put that in the comments here. At jtodd. Boop. I'm going to fix that. DM on Twitter. Think so. Want to be on the live stream? DM me on Twitter. JTodd Thinker. Ow. If you've got something you want to talk about in the chat, go ahead and drop it in there. I'm finding my motivation video. Man, I should have been more prepared, but this is all so last minute. Can you imagine? Working on a cool project with a friend of mine in Colorado called Mood Theory. Mood Theory is a Facebook channel all about music. We're going to be talking to DJs and doing some cool things around kind of immersive experiences with DJs in the Vegas area. Las Vegas. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Content ideas. Oh my gosh. Where is all of this stuff? Got so much stuff made. Instant coffee. Oh my gosh. It's buried. Everything is buried. There it is. Hold on. Nope. It's not in there either. Clips? Do you think it's in clips? It's not in clips. If you're watching us live on YouTube, if you got something you want to talk about, put that in the chat. Curious what you do to motivate yourself. If you're feeling like you're stuck, if you're feeling like you're behind the eight ball, however you want to phrase it. What do you do to motivate yourself to get yourself off the mark? For one, I think we enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning. Me, I've got a cool thing. Oh, here it is. Got a cool thing sits on my wall. These are things I wrote 20 years ago. Things I wanted to do, quote, for the rest of my life. And one of them was like, hey, dance in the rain. Hey, look at, stop and enjoy the flowers, which is cool. What it motivates me to do is actually motivates me to stay kind of more centered and return to the things that I maybe sometimes can lose sight of, right? Those things that uh, life just kind of pulls you away and you're all of a sudden getting in the rat race, just doing. And it's hard to stop sometimes. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you don't have that problem. I'm looking for that video that I promised you I would show you. It's so good. And now the trouble is I'm going to put it out there and you're going to be like, that's not good at all. That's a terrible video. I can't believe that you showed that to us. But I promise it's going to be great. I hope. Well, I got so much stuff. Hey, here's an interesting question. I was going through. Oh, there it is. Oh, what? I found it. That's what I'm talking about. I was talking to somebody the other day about coffee with humans, and later today, actually, we've got a live stream with Max Ivy, the blind blogger. Super cool dude. He blind. I mean, I hope, because if he's not blind, masquerading around as a blind blogger is a real, real shitty thing to say. But he's the blind blogger. He grew up in a family of people who owned carnivals, and now he's he what's he doing? That didn't work out. And so now he helps people sell their amusement equipment, which is really interesting. And he is a motivational speaker. He's lost 250 pounds, 250 pounds through bariatric surgery and also eating right. And he's been able to sustain that, which is also remarkable because many times people who take off a bunch of weight, they put it right back on because the bariatric surgery was not necessarily the issue. It was what's happening inside. It's that what's happening internally in the person's head. And that's the issue, right? With motivation. That a lot of times the thing that we think is going to cure us it's not going to cure us. That's not going to help us. It's what's happening inside our head that we need to kind of get to the bottom of, and that's something that we need to think about. So motivation. I think I've got this. I think is it going to happen for us? I'm gonna try this. You're going to be so impressed with me if this works. I know it. You're going to be like, damn, Gina, you know what's up. Hold on. I'm clicking buttons. I wasn't prepared for this. What? Oh, check this out. Yeah, Katie says I set small goals for myself to achieve and increase my motivation. Yeah, I find that when I feel like I have, yeah, absolutely. If you got something big you want to accomplish, a lot of times that can be more easily accomplished by setting up these smaller chunks, smaller goals, right? I do that when I'm running because I legit hate running, and I've tried to like running. It's never worked for me. But when I go out to run, I have to set myself goals. I'll be like, I'm going to get to the end of this block, and I got to get to the end of that block, and I got to get to the end of that block. And what I find is that sometimes I will kind of settle in, and all of a sudden something clicks in my head, and I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. I kind of get into like this habit almost. All of a sudden, I'm like, all right, now I'm running. It's like, Forrest, keep running. I was running, running. All right, I'm gonna try this. Let's see this.
Motivation is, by definition, the list of reasons we do things. You're probably viewing this because you think you need more motivation. And I think you're wrong. You already have really good reasons to do what you want to do. The trouble is, your reasons for staying where you're at are more valuable to you right now. Instead of looking for more motivation to move forward, acknowledge your reasons for staying where you're at and start valuing those reasons less. In the balance, we do what we value. If you feel you're not moving forward, it may be you value staying where you're at more.
I'm curious. What do you think of that? The idea that sometimes we are not lacking motivation. It's just that we are motivated to do the things that we don't want to do because they provide some sort of value for us. Isn't that true? Like sometimes, I think it was last night, I was thinking, I want dessert. And I totally wanted some ice cream or some pie, something that was no good for me at the time. I had spent the rest of the day eating things I shouldn't have probably eaten. And when I got to the point of feeling like, man, I need some pie, I need some ice cream, I need some dessert, thought, man, I got to go do this. But I decided not to because it just wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it to me because I've got other goals in my life. And so I denied myself those things. And I felt better about it. Honestly, I was like, you know what? I feel good about this because I was more motivated to do the more beneficial, the longer term thing. And to Katie's point, the idea of setting that interim goal, getting to the end of today, for instance, without eating the junk food. That's a great goal. It's an interim goal. Along the long-term goal moves me forward to the long-term goal of not eating crap and not gaining weight. So later today, we got Max Ivy again, the blind blogger. I'm super excited about having him on Coffee with Humans. Now, Coffee with Humans, if you're not familiar with it, is what am I calling it? I'm calling it raw, unfiltered conversations where strangers become friends. That's my goal. Strangers becoming friends in raw, unfiltered conversations. So far, I've achieved that to a pretty good degree. The cool thing is, the thing I like about it, the kind of the shtick is that anybody can schedule it. You just go to coffeewithhumans.com, and when you schedule that up, you can be on the live stream, right? And I meet my guests about 8 minutes before we go live, which The other day, it totally didn't work out. Uh, I had technical difficulty with a guy in West Africa. His internet was terrible. And it was so unfortunate because he was so looking forward to being on the show. And I met him again about 8 minutes before we went live. And doing so builds on all of these assumptions that, well, we've got clean internet, we're going to be able to do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, not necessarily, which is too bad. But it does actually underscore the idea that a lot of times when you want to be more flexible, you've got to put systems in place. So organization, good systems, good planning actually enable flexibility. I think sometimes people think about these two things as well. I could be flexible or I could be planned, and that's bullshit. You can be flexible by having a good plan. You can be flexible by being organized. When you're talking about flexibility without a plan or without systems or without processes, a lot of times you're talking about chaos. And that's not what we want. We don't want to live chaotic lives. We certainly don't want to wake up on a Monday morning and live chaotic lives. We want flexibility, which means we need to get our shit in order. I speak that to myself first. Jason, get your shit in order. Well, so here's some other questions that people have talked about on Coffee with Humans. I'll grab I've got all these ideas. What's if I visited your town, where would we go to dinner? If I visited your town, where would we go to dinner? That is a great question. If I visited your town, a cool place here in Rockford, but they're not open right now because it's COVID, which is too bad. But social in downtown Rockford, great place, fantastic food. Shout out to the folks who make that happen. But unfortunately, they are closed due to COVID, which is a real shame. Man, they've been closed for a long time, which I hope, and I don't know, I don't follow these things carefully. I don't follow other people's lives quite as carefully as I follow my own. And I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to reopen it anytime soon? I don't know. But I've got a client who's a realtor, and I'm working on some stuff for them right now, and they are they are I went on their website, and man, there are a lot of commercial properties changing hands. Not just properties, but businesses changing hands. So there are lodges, there are hotels, there are gas stations, there's a marina with an attached bar and grill, which is super cool. I think that would be a lot of fun, but it's probably not a lot of fun when people aren't vacationing, especially during this time of COVID. But I think there's going to be this idea of wealth transfer. There's going to be this big wealth transfer of folks who have owned a lot of these businesses through the years, and they're getting on, and they're getting up there in age. They're getting older, and they're ready to retire. And now it just seems like a good impetus. It's like COVID's hitting, and so it's a good time to just go ahead and switch over. Just let this thing change hands. And I think what we're going to be seeing is a lot of those businesses start to change hands now, because of COVID. It's like that's the final final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. Which, where'd that even come from? Like, I don't what where'd that even come from? The straw that broke the camel's back. Does anybody know? The straw broke the camel's back. What's that even mean? Idiom. This is from Wikipedia. The idiom, the straw that broke the camel's back, alluding to the proverb, "It is the last straw that breaks the camel's back," describes the seemingly minor or routine action that causes an unpredictably large and sudden reaction because of the cumulative effect of small actions. Oh, yeah. That reminds me of a proverb, the "for want of a For want of a nail. I think that was a pretty good one. I had a business partner once who kept on saying that one. Here's how that one goes. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. The whole point being that the thing that we sometimes believe is small and insignificant is actually very significant. It's so significant, in fact, that it actually is the thing that I'll get that back on the screen. It's so significant, in fact, that it is the thing that, when carried forward, causes us to lose the battle. It's important to keep in mind what those things are, I think, to understand that those small cumulative effects of these seemingly small, insignificant things actually could be the thing that, if it's on the critical path, is the thing that causes the battle to be lost. And then the kingdom lost as well. Oh man. Feel like that got really deep there for a minute. Oh boy. Well, it is Monday. I have had already my coffee that I make in a mocha pot. I love my coffee in a mocha pot. Some of you know that. And then I am now on to decaf coffee in my pour over. I'm going to see if this thing, I don't know if you've ever used Google Photos or not, but it sometimes is really good about finding photos. It's not so good about finding a mocha pot photo, which is a shame. I tell you what I did find, though. Coffee with Humans was started not all that long ago. It started in April. And there was there's kind of the original version that that I was playing around with. I thought, well, what could the avatar look like? What could the design look like? And here's the first design that I made for Coffee with Humans. I thought, that's me. I'd be like, Coffee with Humans, which then became the bigger design there, which I've got in the upper right-hand corner. I kind of like it. I'm not certain it looks totally like me, but it's pretty good. Maybe I'll have to change the glasses. If I ever get like those circular glasses, that'd be fun. All right. Well, as we're winding down 2020, which has been a ridiculous year, I feel. It's just been crazy. Crazy part of, I don't know. Crazy time. Curious what was your focus question for the year? Focus, if it wasn't a question, what was your focus word or phrase? That's probably better. What was your focus word or phrase for the year? Mine was love your journey. Super important to me because I think sometimes, at least for me, I get stuck constantly planning for what's in the future, thinking, rethinking, overthinking, instead of just being in the moment and going with what's in that moment. Which is not to say that we want to sacrifice our long term growth, but sometimes that moment is something that we just need to relax into. Just live in the moment for a bit. I've admittedly had a lot of hard times with that through the years, and so that coupled with living in the moment, coupled with that idea of loving your journey, that's my um, my focus for this past year. It might be my focus for this upcoming year too. I don't know, or maybe it's a pair. I don't know. Maybe it's like a subtitle on this time. I don't know. It's possible. So I'm curious what your focus word or phrase is for the year. If you've got a focus word or phrase, drop that in the chat. All right. Some other things other questions here. What is your focus for the week? John Maxwell talks about having the main event. The main event is kind of just a real basic, kind of simple, easy way of prioritizing the things that we want to do or should focus on. What should get our energy during the day? It should be the main event. If we have 100% capacity of to do things, to think through things, to accomplish things today, what is the main event for today? That's the thing we want to consider, because if we expend our energy throughout the day on all the things that don't matter, then the trouble is where we risk not having enough energy for the main event. And so if you've got 10 things that you need to do on your to-do list today, and if you're like me, you got 10 or more of things that have just been trailing you. It's like they're all attached to a big rope that you're dragging behind you, kind of pulling you back, and you're struggling to pull them forward. If you've got all those things on your mind, the trouble is that it's hard to find what the main event is going to be. And so we really need to be diligent about prioritizing. Take the opportunity over your cup of coffee. So you're listening to Coffee with Humans. Over your cup of coffee today, think about it. Just take a moment to pause. Instead of just rushing forward in the day, just take a moment to pause and think, okay, what's the main event for today? And what kind of energy reserves do I need to have for that? And then deprioritize everything else, because otherwise we're not going to be able to excel at that thing that's the main event for today. Real basic, simple, easy process that anybody can follow. Take a moment to pause and focus on what the main event is. And when we're doing that, focusing on the main event, enjoying our cup of coffee, consider also what you can delegate. Is there anything on your to-do list today that you don't have to do because you're no good at it and you don't like it? Stop doing the things that you're no good at and you don't like. It makes no sense. And I speak this to me first. It makes no sense to do things that you are no good at and you don't like. Years ago, I hated, probably still hate. It's been a long time. I haven't even tried it. It's been a long time, but I hated mowing my lawn, which I know is a first world problem. It's a stupid thing to hate, but I hated it because I would start on a Friday nights and then I would have to pick it back up on Sunday morning or Saturday mornings, take forever. And so I would do it inconsistently. And pretty soon the lawn was so high, I have to do it twice or three times. And I was bad at it. I I then decided, well, if I hate doing this, I'm no good at it and I hate it, why do I have to do it? And I struggled with delegating that by hiring a lawn service because in my family, it was kind of like, well, these are things you should be able to do. Like you should take care of your place on your own, which is admirable. But if you hate doing it, stop it. And so I reconciled that in my mind. And I thought, the first person I'm going to hear from is probably my father, who's going to be like, are you sure that you don't have to mow your own lawn? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. Why are you bugging me about this? I'm a grown ass man. And so I did. I hired a lawn service. And I think it was like $35 or $38 at the time to get my lawn mowed and then weed whacked and then blown off every week. And it was honestly, it was some of the best $35 I've ever spent every week to just get that taken care of because I'm no good at it and I hate it, which allows me to have the space for, as we're talking about this, the main event, the things that I am good at, that I do excel at, the things that do move me forward, move my clients forward, move the organization forward, move other people forward. And I avoid the frustration, which drags people down. Frustration drags me down. Frustration drags the people around me down if I'm frustrated, and also detracts from my ability to focus on the main event. So the thing that you are no good at and you hate, delegate it. Oh, does that rhyme? The thing you are no good at and you hate, delegate. I know. It's very impressive, my wordsmithing. If you've got an idea for motivation, drop it in the chat. I feel like this is starting to become like kind of heavy. Whew. Talking about motivation. And then we're getting all wigged out on, am I motivated enough? Which, let that go while we're at it. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop criticizing yourself that you don't have enough motivation to go do things. As we talked about already on this thing, you're just motivated in the wrong direction. The thing that you don't want to do, if you're continuing to do something you don't want to do, you got to figure out, why do you do that? Why do you want to do it? It's giving you something because you keep doing it. People do things that they value. Fundamentally, people do things that they value. And so we want to figure out, if I'm doing something that I don't want to do, what do I value about that? Super important to figure that out. And until we figure out why we value that thing, we're likely to, we're going to struggle with setting it down. We're going to struggle with going back to that because it's providing us some sort of value. So we need to acknowledge, instead of just beating yourself up for it and saying, oh, well, I can't believe that I, did whatever I did, had that second piece of cake. I had that full pint of ice cream. I had that drink. I went and did that, whatever. I slacked off. Figure out what do you value about that? What is it giving you? Super important to understand that, because again, until we understand that we're making these balanced judgment, these value decisions for ourselves, we are going to, again, struggle with continuing to do things that we don't want to do. And then we're going to become frustrated. The frustration's going to build with people around us. That's no good. We don't want to do any of that stuff. And so this idea of what goals, but I mean, kind of pulling a lot of the stuff together. What goals do I have off in the future? We want to put those into bite-sized chunks, and we want to figure out what the motivation is for why we keep getting off track. It's pulling us off track because we value the thing that's pulling us off track. So we want to pull ourselves back on track by understanding what we value, and then begin to find ways to devalue that, and also live in the present, live in the moment, love your journey that you're on, so that you can understand that life is living, right? Which sounds stupid, but life is about living. If we're constantly planning, you got to question yourself: am I really living, or am I just setting off things into the future thinking that, well, I'll live in the future. Eventually I'll go do these things. Eventually I'll go live. Sometimes that is just not true. I think if COVID has taught us anything, it's that life is short. And I think by understanding that we are up against a wall at some point in time, I think that has the opportunity to focus us down again into those things that we do value. What do I really value? And then also, where am I finding that that strength to live in the present without, again, losing sight of the future, but just go off and live and love your journey. If you've got thoughts, comments, please drop those in the chat. Be happy to get to your thoughts or your comments. I know that some folks are listening around the world. We've got actually a viewer in Kuwait. I think Katie's in Kuwait. Kuwaiti Katie. The other thing that's on my mind today from my notebook of thoughts, not smart thoughts. I was actually going to say it's the notebook of smart thoughts, but I don't know. Whoa, this is Megan. Megan, what's up, girl? Welcome to Coffee with Humans. You've been invited to be on Coffee with Humans on video, and you have yet to take me up on that offer, which I'm wondering if I should take that personally yet, or if I should just not. I should continue to not take it personally. Megan says, I value my relationship with myself. What do you mean by that? I'm curious. What do you mean by you value your relationship with yourself? This is good stuff. I love it. I love what you're bringing out there. I value my relationship with myself. Hey, wow. Oh, don't take it personally. Oh boy. Anybody can be on this chat. There's a link actually. You can actually DM me on Twitter at JToddThinker if you want to be on the chat this morning. I've got a link for you. Anybody can be on the chat. Just DM me on Twitter, or I can put it in the. I'm not going to put it in the YouTube comments, but you can DM me on Twitter, and I'll send it to you. Twitter. I don't know what's the deal with Twitter. Twitter's been around for a long time, and I don't know about that. I haven't done anything on Twitter in a long time, but I thought, hey, I've got this Monday morning chat, Coffee with Humans. This is great. OMG, is this public? It is public. Oh. Boop. All right. That link. All right. Megan and Katie, the link has been sent to you. And yes, this is public. Why you're watching it on YouTube? Of course it's public. I don't understand. Why would you think? Is this public? Oh my gosh. Yes, it's public. If you click that link, what? Megs is coming up. Oh, geez. Here we go. Watch this. What is that? Are you
I'm
live?
Incognito. I'm the Invisible Man.
You're the Invisible Man? That
Not
you know
really.
what? You look like the Invisible Man.
Well, what does the Invisible Man look like is the real question.
He was just a face. It was like he had like a white mask on, kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is my incognito look.
That's really funny. Although the new Invisible Man was kind of scary. He was actually invisible. Did you see the new Invisible Man?
No, I didn't. Okay, I'm just like in the car and I just realized I have my mask on still from being not in the car. No, I haven't
No.
seen the new Invisible Man, but wasn't it like, I heard that it was really interesting because it was talking about like the patriarchy is invisible and how like that's the destructive force. So I kind of want to watch it.
Wow. Yeah. Are we talking about the same Invisible Man?
I don't know, because there's Invisible Man and then there's The Invisible Man, which I believe is by H.G. Wells and is about the man who is invisible, whereas the other one is like a metaphor.
Oh, right. So
think.
it's been a long time since I've seen the original The Invisible Man. The new The Invisible Man was pretty good. It was about a guy who was invisible and was stalking his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, first of all, boo. Like,
It's
you're
creepy.
invisible and you're gonna stalk your girlfriend. Like, that's your choice. But like, he is an invisible man, so that makes sense.
Yes. I wonder why they didn't call it The Invisible Boy.
The invisible what?
Boy.
The Invisible Man Child.
The
I
Invisible
think would
Man Child.
More appropriate. We are on the expressway right now, so it's a little distracting. He knows how I drive. Cruising in Kuwait. So if this call cuts out abruptly, you'll call somebody. But look how pretty. I don't know if you can see the sky.
Oh, there we go. The sky in Kuwait. Yes.
So kind of what you were talking about earlier about all this stuff on the to-do list, that I was like, wow, Jason is speaking to me right now.
Yeah.
But today I went on a walk and I walked through this patch of sunlight and it was the perfect temperature, and I stopped and I closed my eyes and I felt the breeze on my face and the warmth of the sun, and it was such a pure and purposeful moment.
Really?
It like gave me reprieve from the hamster wheel.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're thinking about, this idea of you value your relationship with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we take our relationships with ourselves for granted all the time, and like someone was telling me one time, someone asked me what is the voice and tone I use when I talk to myself, and I was like, what?
Wow.
And I realized that it was not a very compassionate or understanding tone or very nice things that I was saying to myself about just like, you know, oh my gosh, you didn't get to all your stuff on your list today, or like, how could you make that mistake? Just a very critical inner voice. And so one thing I've been working on is improving my relationship with myself through compassionate self-talk.
That is amazing. And so important, really.
Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship of your life.
Yes. This is very good. This is really, really profound.
I'm glad you think so, because I could die at any moment, to be honest, on this road that we're on.
Well, you're having a good relationship with yourself while you're driving. But you're right. I mean, if we talked to other people the way sometimes we talk to ourselves, those people would hate us.
Right? We would have no friends. Also, this phone is at 1%. So if I cut out, you're going to have to roll the die. Like, car accident, battery died. Like, it could really go either way. We don't know. So just buckle up for that suspense, okay, is what I'm saying.
I am waiting. I'm waiting with bated breath. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. How do you bait breath, though?
I don't know. Where did that even come from?
Like, what is the breath baited with? What is it baited for? You know? Are we fishing with our breath? Like, what is it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's probably one of those idioms that has some weird backstory that has to do with farm animals or something.
Right.
You know, sorry that I just derailed us during our profound journey. Here's what I mean about I could end my life
Whoa,
at any
what?
moment with an ambulance already on scene. So,
Listen, that car was upside down.
oh my God, was it?
Yeah, that was totally upside down. It was like flipped over.
Okay, I did not see that, or I would not have shown the internet. I just saw an ambulance and a police car. Yeah, everyone told me about the 30, which is the road that we're on. They're like, wait till you get to Kuwait. The 30 is crazy. And then the first day I was out of quarantine and I was going to school, we passed 2 accidents. One in which people were like sitting on the side of the road, like covered in blood. They were okay, but it looks like it was a severe accident. And I was like, nothing like being reminded of your mortality first thing in the morning on the way to school. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I hope it's got to be crazy though, because I think sometimes we normalize things like that, right? It's when we first come upon it, it's like, that's crazy. But then as we sit in the crazy for longer, it's like, that's normal.
Yeah, I'm a 4, as you know, and so weird things like that I think about all the time. And I'll be like, do you ever think about this? And other people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, have you ever thought about how, like, someday the sky is going to be there, but, like, we won't because we will have died, but, like, the world marches on? I don't know.
Yeah. I think about those things. I think about it. So the space that you're in before that road was there, let's say 2,000 years ago, there were people living there who had no idea you were going to be there, driving down that road on a video call with a car flipped over, talking about them having been there.
Jason, that's crazy. I think about that all the time when I'm in like natural spaces. I'm like, who was here 1,000 years ago? What was that like? Like, what's it going to be like in 1,000 years? They're going to look back and they're going to know, you know, what I was about, maybe, or like what this time was about. But yeah, I think about that all the time. That's so crazy that you think about that too, but not really, I guess. It's kind of, I'm surprised, but not really.
No, I'm not surprised either.
Okay. This battery is going to die.
All right.
This is really exciting. This is like a little prequel Coffee with Humans. Don't be discouraged. I do want to do it. I'm going to do it over winter break when I have not so many things on my to-do list. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great time. You know that.
I'm really excited. I think about it not infrequently when I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to talk to Jason on Coffee with Humans about. Or I'd be like, oh, I wonder if Jason will. Like, I think about that kind of stuff. Your
moment will come when you're ready.
My what?
Your moment will come when you're ready.
Coffee. Katie's translating through the static fuzz.
Oh.
All right, Jason, I'm going to sign off. I'll see you on Coffee with Humans.
All righty. Bye-bye. Be safe. Oh, what a good time. The marvels of technology where we can connect with people across the world. My friend Megan there in Kuwait, driving down the 30, which apparently is a pretty crazy road. But that's kind of exciting. What interesting thoughts to have where, thinking about this idea of we are kind of a blip on the radar. And in the same spot that we are sitting in today, who was sitting there 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago? Was anybody sitting there? Were their lives being lived in that same spot? People that didn't know that we were coming along, and they simply were living their lives just as we're living our lives right now. What were they considering? Were they considering about what's coming next? Or were they just kind of living in the moment? Were they thinking about their to-do lists? Were they thinking about what the main event was for their day? I think in a lot of cases they were. people haven't changed a whole lot. Or maybe they were really struggling. Maybe they were living in a time when, they didn't have clean water. They didn't have a lot of food. Uh, maybe their worlds were upended like our worlds have been through COVID, and they were just trying to get by. They were trying to think, what comes next and how do I work through that? How do I survive? Maybe that's what their lives were like. Really interesting thoughts. Thanks so much, Megan, for joining me. And I'm looking forward to having a coffee with humans. Well, we are coming up here on the end of our time together on this Monday morning. Monday morning motivation. Something to think about. What is the main event for the day? What can you delegate and get off your list as you're thinking about the things that you have to do? If we give those things some consideration, I think we can become more effective. We can live with less frustration, which means we can be happier for ourselves and for others. And like Megan said, when we don't live up to those standards, whatever those nebulous standards are that we have for ourselves, engage in some positive self-talk with your, talk to yourself kindly. Talk to yourself as the sometimes scared child that you are, or the excited child that you are. The kid is bouncing off the walls sometimes. You got so much energy, you don't know what to do with yourself. Or the kid with, who can't get to sleep, restless legs, man, just things aren't working right. Too hot, I'm too cold, whatever it is. Talk to yourself like the kid that you are sometimes inside. Give yourself some compassion and reduce some of the anxiety that you've got about having to just put it together every day. It's a lot of work. I get it. But we're all in this together. That's the essence of Coffee with Humans. Coffee with Humans is making the world a better place, one conversation at a time. Today is the first experimental live stream where we just hopped on. I just hopped on YouTube and said, I'm just going to show up out there and offer to the world this idea of Coffee with Humans and just chatting about anything. The only rule is no sales calls. All right. Well, it's Monday. I've got coffee. I've got motivation. Ready to make the world a better place around me. If you want to chat, DM me on Twitter at jtoddthinker, or go to coffeewithhumans.com if you want to have your hour with me. Cheers, everybody.
One of the things I love about Coffee with Humans are the raw conversations I get to have, meeting new people just like you. If you or someone you know should be on Coffee with Humans, go to coffeewithhumans.com. Remember, the only rule is no sales calls. This has been Coffee with Humans. Subscribe to get updates or click to have coffee with me. coffeewithhumans.com.